Hello everyone. So for today's video, I've decided to show you the two different types of buttons that you can make in Odoo. So there are technically only two that are widely used, which are the object and action types. So the main difference is that the object, as stated here, just calls a Python method, while the action doesn't need the Python method. It could just directly call a different view or a different action from the DB. On top of that demo, I'm also showing you the option to add a confirm dialog box that will open up when you're clicking on the button. So this is set in the view, but I'll show you right after that. And I'm also showing you the invisible conditions, which can be added to buttons to like conditionally show them or hide them based on Pythonic evaluations. I've just set up some basic fields just to have stuff to display in the view and also uh, to actually act on by the actions that are called by the buttons. So these are the actions that will be called. So those will just change the stages or the state of the entry I made. And this will help us see the whole invisible logic for the buttons for the states actually. And then I've set up two different methods that are going to get called again by the object buttons. Uh, One of it is just to show you how to actually return a URL and open up a new page. So because I've set the target to new, then it just tells it to open it in a new tab. I thought it was interesting to show you. This is the standard way for Odoo to open up a new page. And then the dangerous operation is just the one for the confirmation. This action merely just writes the action in the last action field in the node, but that's just for the demo purpose. In the view, so you'll see that I've set up well the state with all the conditions for it, the buttons, and they all have type object, as I said, so they will all be calling the Python methods that we set in the model. As I said, you do have the invisible conditions, so it will always react on the state value, which is what we're evaluating here. Then you have the fields which are going to be affected by the actions. And then I've created the buttons. So the buttons themselves are pretty simple. It's just a button block. But then you pass on the arguments, and one of it is the type, which is the object, as I said. So this is the most common one. The object is the one that you use to call the Python method again. So this is a basic one. It would just trigger an increment of the counter field. And then this is the URL one. Again, as you see, it's set up exactly the same way. It's just in the action itself that you differentiate the way it behaves. And then you have the action button, as I said, and this is just returning directly the action to open up another page that I've set up for another demo. But this will show you that this doesn't call any Python from my model. So I think it's interesting to show you as well. It's another option that you have. Then you have the dangerous operation button, and as I said, this one is with the confirm dialog. So this has to be set by adding the confirm argument and then stating in double quotes the value of the message that you want to be displayed. With these kind of dialog boxes, the action won't be actually applied until you confirm. So it's some kind of a transitory state, like until you confirm it, it won't actually trigger, which is I guess logical, but yeah, worth mentioning. If you cancel, then you won't have triggered anything. So I think it's often safer to add a confirm dialog for really destructive actions. And trust me, there can be quite a few. And then I think that's about it. So right, I'm gonna switch to the view that I've set up for this. Okay, so this is my entry. As you see right now, there are no notes, no text, no last action triggered because I've just set it up, but nothing was triggered yet. I've enabled the debug mode so just so that you can see when I hover on top of a button, you'll see the type of it and the method that it's calling. So for instance, here you can see that it's calling our method action increment. We just incremented the counter by one, and it's set up as a type object, as I said. Same goes for the URL. You just see that it's calling a different method, but here you won't see that the method actually returns an URL with the target new and stuff. So yeah, you won't get that much infos here, but still interesting. And this is the action button you can see. And as you see now, when you hover on it, because it's an action, you just see the ID of the action that's being called. So the 551 is the action that will open up the sudo demo, which is for another video. I'm gonna show it to you. So the state um, has some conditions, as I said. Well, not, the buttons have conditions based on the state. So right now you see the start and the cancel button because as you see here, you do have the invisible mentioned there. It's all again just an object type button. And you see the method that's being called, the action start. Same goes for the cancel. And so as you see, when I do that, it just changes the state and it also made the previous button invisible and made this new one visible and so on until the last one. As you see, now it updated, so every time I call an action, I'm just writing down here the action that was called. I think it's interesting to see this in action. But when I click on reset, then it gets back to draft, and you see that start is back again. So this is pretty useful to see the invisible options. And then the other basic button object, which is like really the most standard one that you'll encounter. Again, the object, and every time I click, it just increments the counter. Pretty simple. Then you have the action, the open URL that we made, which is again just an object, but the method actually returns the URL with the target new. And so as you see, this opened it in a new tab. If you didn't specify target new, for instance, then it would have opened it in the same window. Might be what you want, but then it's, yeah, probably just worth knowing again. This is the action one. So when you click it, you'll see that it just opens up the view that was supposed to be open. So for this one, it's the sudo and with context demo, which is for the next video. And then the confirm dialog is this one. So you see that it's still considered as a regular object, but then when you click it, you have that extra overlaid dialog box. If I just hit cancel, as I said, nothing will be applied. You see that the notes aren't filled in, so this means that this action wasn't actually done. And same goes for the action. You see that it didn't update, but if I confirm, then it did update here and did update there. So this is just by adding the confirm argument in the view when you set up the button in the button block. And then yeah, this again just reminds you about the invisible and what we put in place for the buttons. So yeah, I think this pretty much covers the subject. Hopefully that was useful for you. See you soon for the next video. Bye.